G'day, welcome to Mt.Coramba Apiculture. I'm at my Coramba site this afternoon. It's 10th of June 2022. Another ripper of a frost this morning, so below zero, but a beautiful sunny day. Nice sunshine, no wind. So yeah, I'm just going to keep working on this site. I've been through all these hives and replaced the bottom boards with new ones, with freshly painted ones, and just move them up off the ground. Going to go through and line them up a little bit because it gets a bit of passing traffic and I want the site to look neat and tidy for the property owners. I've also in that process taken the queen excluders out of all of these hives and given the queen free reign of the hive. What I want to go through now is just reduce them down to doubles and get as much honey down into the brood boxes as I can, just to pack them down nice and tight. And I may also put a few sheets of plastic between some of the supers just to keep the heat down below in the brood box and give them a bit of comfort that way. So we'll start working on this hive here, and we might do 2 or 3 and just see how they go. So I'll get this top super off. I'm pretty sure it's full of honey from last time I looked at it. There's bees up in the lid. That's pretty heavy, so it's full of honey. It's a bit shaded here, so these bees won't be terribly happy to see me. It's down into the second super. Now we're down into what was the brood box, so there was a queen excluder between here. I haven't had a look, so we'll just see what's going on in here. There's a bit of pollen in there, so that's promising. Bit more pollen. No brood yet. Small scatter of pollen. And a little bit of seal brood, so that's good. Just shows how tough the conditions have been for them to go backwards so quickly, and it's all because of the heavy rain we've had. And that looks like that's the end of our brood. So what I want to do is get a bit of honey down into here. Yep, that's the end of our brood. Nothing left there at all now. So let's just get those bees off. General objective is to get this third super off if I can. So I'll get as much honey down into this hive as I can, and probably take a few frames home to extract. Bit of honey in that. A little bit in that fella. And some more. So that's good, that'll get a bit of honey down into that brood nest. Nice one there. Push them down. Want to make sure I've got the queen down in that bottom box. That's good. That's what I'm going to do. Let's get a bit of plastic on there, just to keep that warmth down in that brood box. Put this super back on. And I'll just select a few frames that are full of honey. Get back in there. That'll make sure they've got plenty of stores. It's a bit of a mess. These last few in, got a bit of nectar and pollen in them. Try and get one more in. There's that first frame of pollen I took out. So that's good. They're in nice and tight now, back to a double. These last few frames will come home, get extracted. Back on. So that's good. That's got that hive back to a double. there's much less space in here that the bees need to heat. I've put a sheet of plastic between what was the brood box and the honey super, and the bees can keep raising brood down there and stay a little bit warmer, and they've got plenty of stores of honey on top, so there's a bit of a space there where they can get past the plastic to keep working on this box up the top. So that's got that consolidated back to a double, which is where we need to have them for the next month and a half. Just onto the hive next to it now. Same again, we just want to consolidate things down to a double, put a sheet of plastic between the brood box and the honey super, and just make life a bit better for them in terms of heating and cooling that honey super. Always looking to reduce the space in the hive this time of year. Just helps them deal with beetles, even though beetles aren't really a problem with the temperature this low, but we don't want to give them a chance at any time. There's remarkably few beetles in here. Down to our second super. Push those bees down, loosen these two frames up. I've had these open in the last few days, so they should be pretty easy to pull apart. Super off. That's full of honey. So we may be able to take it super off. See, the bees are covering these last 4 or 5 frames, so that's where I'm expecting to find a bit of brood. So we'll get these empty frames out of the brood box and pack it with honey. Bit of pollen. Nothing. Nothing. A little bit of pollen and nectar there. Not much there. I'm hoping to find a bit of brood. There we go, some sealed brood. So we won't disturb them anymore there. But that just shows what a hard time these hives have had. They're back to you know, maybe 1 or 2 frames of brood there. So we'll get that out. Pack this with frames of honey. That's got sealed and unsealed honey in it. It's nice and heavy. That's good. One more. Be careful, that frame's touching the side of the hive. I don't want a space there where, see that, I don't want a space where a beetle can get in but a bee can't. I'll just select another frame. One looks better. That's a better fit. Push these bees down. Sheet of plastic in there, space there for the bees to get up into that second super. So these 4 frames here are full of honey. I'll get another 5 to fit in there out of this top super. There's 5 frames of honey. So that leaves them with brood box, half full of brood, half full of honey, and a super full of honey there. So that'll be plenty for them. Scrape a bit of this wax off. I'll just shake any more bees back into that brood box, or back into that hive, just so I know I haven't got the queen in there. So that's them done. Consolidated down to the 2. I've checked there's brood in the brood box, it's disease free. I've packed that remaining space with frames of honey. Put a bit of sheet of plastic down there just to keep that heat down in the brood box. And super honey on top, which will see them through the next month and a half of cooler weather. So hive number 3 is a 10 framer. Plenty of bees up the top, which is promising. A few beetles in there. Pretty well stuck together. Just loosen them a little bit. They're in part shade here, so they're a bit touchy. See how that goes. That's full of honey. It's a nice strong hive. See what the brood box is like. We may not do anything with this. It's full of honey once again. This is a really good strong hive. So that frame's empty. That's empty. Nothing in that. No brood in that. A little bit of pollen. Not happy to see me. So starting to get a bit of brood there. Let's have a quick look. That looks nice and healthy. One more frame. Yeah, not a lot of brood in that hive, but what's there is healthy. Still a few drones in here, which is interesting. So what I want to do is backfill that with honey. So there's 5 frames of honey back down in that brood box. Make sure that doesn't touch the sides. Push those bees down. Sheet of plastic over that brood. Just keep them nice and warm. Second super back on. I'll get as much honey up in here as I can. Nice fat frame of honey. And I'll try and get one more in there. That's good. It's got all those bees down in there nice and tight now. I'll just shake the rest of these off. Take this box home and extract it. Just make sure the queen's not in it. Just clean this lid up so I can get it back on properly. It's a nice strong hive, it's good. to make sure this lid seals down nicely to keep them warm and just reduce that risk of robbing. A few pieces on the ground I'll get shortly. So you get the idea of what I'm doing. They're compacted down nicely now. Gone from a triple down to a double. Any frames that didn't have honey or brood in them have been replaced with honey frames. Sheet of plastic between the brood box and the honey super, just to keep that warmth down there and make life a bit easier for them. So that's the plan with this whole site. I won't get it all done today. I haven't got my normal car with me today, so a bit limited in how many boxes I can take away. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, mid-June. Really frosty weather here at the moment, but beautiful sunny days. Really nice to be out in the bush looking at bees.